Welcome to the Podcast Discovery Show, the podcast that's about other podcasts. Each week we have a book club style discussion about a podcast, and at the end of the episode, we bring you a brand new recommendation for you to go out and listen to. We'll discuss that one next week. I'm Josh.
I'm Kirk.
And I am Zach.
And this week, we are talking about Light the Fright.
So, Kirk.
Yes?
Why, well, I guess, where did you find this podcast and what inspired you to recommend it?
So, I found them on Twitter, and...
He Googled spooky.
Is that knockoff Twitter?
Nope, it is the Twitter.
You found him on
I found him on the Twitter, and it was...
Sounds
a
like
show that seemed interesting. It was just one of those ones I'm like, I'm gonna give this show a listen. And I listened to one or two episodes, and I'm like, this is perfect for spooky time. And so that's how I found them. And I thought the inspiration for why I picked this episode is I was in the car with my mom the other day, and there was a billboard for Hollow Scream, I believe, and it had a scary looking clown, and she went off about how great clowns used to be and how horror movies have destroyed the perception of clowns and stuff like that.
Make clowns great again.
MCGA?
I don't think we need to do that. It's not just your mom. And they talk about it a little bit during the episode.
43%.
43% of people say they have a phobia of clowns. And I did a quick poll. So I walked around my office today and I asked people, I said, how do you guys feel about clowns? With zero context.
No setup, just like cold.
How do you guys feel about clowns? The looks I got, one, were very confused. But then two, they're like, oh, no, I don't like them.
Okay, I need an age demographic for this.
25 to 35.
See, that's still in the age group they're talking about, though. Apparently, Kirk's mom's age has a very different view of it than us. Mm-hmm. We never had, any kind of good association with clowns. It immediately it was at first weird and, old. You know, I feel like, because they mentioned in this episode Bozo the Clown. I remember seeing it, but I watched that show, and I was like, this is a weird show. Like, what's happening? You know, we never had, that close association with something, from childhood.
You say that. I think I had a clown at my birthday party at least 3 years in a row when I was a little kid.
I mean, he says when he's a little kid, he means the last 3 birthdays he had.
No. Yeah. But I was never scared of clowns. I think I was a clown for Halloween a few times, but not like the scary clown, just like, hey, look, I'm a clown. So my childhood, clowns were fine. They were cool. I didn't have any fear of clowns. So did you guys have any fears of clowns when you were younger?
I didn't have a fear of clowns. I wasn't fond of clowns. I would say that as a child, I was neutral on clowns.
Yeah, I was ambivalent.
No, I will say this.
No opinion.
I have a strong uncanny valley trigger for a lot of different things, but for some reason, clowns don't trigger that in me.
Did they say that Freud was the one that termed the coin Uncanny Valley?
Coined the term, yes. And I was about to say that blew my mind. I had no idea that he was involved in that at all. I always thought it was a video game thing. Because it's definitely something in video games, because when they're designing something...
Especially a long time ago, they were trying to make it realistic. And
but here's the thing. A long time ago, you didn't hit Uncanny Valley. Now you do. If you look at Tomb Raider on PlayStation, it was all they had angles.
Yeah.
All the people had angles going on. There was sharp angles.
Yeah, I'm thinking of 007.
Yeah, it was not at all uncanny. You're like, this is clearly a video game. But now we've gotten to the point where... CGI in general and just computer generated any kind of visual, video game or movie, is really good. That's where you hit Uncanny Valley. You have to be so close to reality that it starts feeling weird.
Yeah, because I actually feel very weird and uncomfortable with all of these augmented reality filters and stuff, even Snapchat and stuff like that. I hate it. I hate it when they make it look like an old person or face swaps. It makes me feel so weird.
None of that stuff bothers me.
That bothers me so bad.
But yeah, that was a super interesting thing that they just kind of dropped in there and blew my mind.
It's funny because everyone knows Freud as a... they always think of him as the weird sexual stuff that he talked about.
I mean, he definitely did talk about that.
But he also had a lot of really good psychology breakthrough type of research that he did. And I think he also did a lot of cocaine. So I think he was just
It just sounds like an awesome guy in general. But yeah,
He's just a kind of a mad scientist a little bit.
But I guess, first of all, the hosts, Miranda and Natalie, kind of start out the show with what they call their liquid courage. And so they have a drink that is paired with the episode, and it is called Clown Fingers, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's the worst name for a drink I could possibly think
it's
of.
pretty bad.
So we did our due diligence, and in honor of this show, we got all the stuff to make clown fingers ourselves, and we're drinking them right here. Aren't they great, guys?
Oh, they're so delicious.
So tasty. Okay, I'm kidding. We didn't get the stuff to make them. I don't think it sounds like something I think I would really like. It
I
sounded
would
like
try
kind
it.
of weird.
It does sound interesting.
I want to go to a bar and order a clown finger and see what they do.
Just see their reaction, not actually want one, just figure out how they're going to react to that.
Like, what?
Like, we don't have that here.
So what's our liquid courage tonight, boys?
Maker's Mark.
Maker's Mark
A
and
little
soda.
a little bit of brown and some soda.
But no, the thing about it is I wouldn't use any of the ingredients in that for anything else.
It is very specific.
Yeah.
But I love the premise of pairing
Yes, I do love
specialty
that.
cocktail with the episode.
It's also the worst name. Just by far the worst name. It's like, oh, you're going to put clown fingers in your mouth? Like, just that.
Wait, you don't do that?
It's just the worst. It's the worst. I literally can't even.
Don't knock
And
it
it
till
also
you
is
try it.
it's a great excuse to just buy a lot of different alcohols to make these
I mean,
special
that is a
drinks.
slippery slope. Like, I'm gonna be a bartender, a serious mixologist. So I need 40,000 shelves of different ingredients.
I bet you that's probably their highest cost in making these shows.
It's definitely our highest cost.
So that's what I'm saying.
By
And
far.
We're pretty good at sharing, and we only get one little thing of it every week.
And we drink it.
We do. But we don't need like 14 elements to make one drink.
No, we need two.
Just two.
Really, we just need one.
My two elements are cup and whiskey.
But I really like the format of their show. I love how they, like you said, they pair the drinks with the topic. They kind of talk about the origins of where the fear came from. They
John
also
Wayne.
talk Lil Wayne,
Lil Wayne and John Wayne.
John Wayne, the fireman.
Lil John Wayne.
Before we get to John Wayne, Lil John Wayne.
Wait, hold on. That is by far, like, that's a comic book right there. Lil John and Lil Wayne combined to make Lil John Wayne, and it's a small John Wayne that's a rapper.
Oh, I thought you were saying they were going to team up and be like a buddy cop movie with Lil
Ooh,
John
that's
and
even
John
better.
Wayne.
That's even better. But Lil John Wayne, just that those three words together.
I would love to see John Wayne reacting to anything that Lil John said to him.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
that guy,
yeah.
right? Yeah, okay.
Yep, that's
right.
it. That's the guy. But yeah, I also love that they first highlight what did clowns used to be like.
Yes.
What was the first view of clowns? And even they went really far back to...
I didn't know clowns went that far.
I
back.
had no clue. But they said essentially that I believe it was Egypt,
Yep.
ancient Egypt. It was kind of a dual role from the religious leaders at the time would also be a clown. And it kind of turned into this whole thing where they would put on makeup so that you knew what was about to happen, and they were going to roast everybody at whatever event they were at.
And because it was Egypt, basically it was like, I'm in costume because I'm going to make fun of you, and you're a political person. Please don't kill me.
Yeah, please don't execute me.
I'm sure a lot of them got killed anyways.
Probably.
Yeah, it might have happened. I bet that was a dangerous job. But yeah, so it starts there, kind of innocuous, slightly religious, oddly, had no clue that was happening. That's a really cool thing about this show is I picked up a lot of interesting history, knowledge tidbits throughout all of this when I kind of thought it was a different direction.
Yeah, I mean, you don't expect going in that it's kind of like something you're going to learn a bunch of different stuff about, but we learned so much about the history of clowns. We learned a lot of creepy stuff about clowns, why we think they're creepy, and there's actually pretty good reasons.
There definitely is.
Which that was the second section they got to, which was like, where did the phobia start? Where
Yeah,
did the fear of clowns start?
John Wayne.
And right before that,
Lil John
they
Wayne.
also had Howdy Doody had like a clown sidekick, Bozo the Clown, Ronald McDonald, Ringling Brothers, and Barnum and Bailey. Clowns were at their peak. I think they said 40s, 50s, 60s. Mm-hmm. And then John Wayne Gacy. Notorious
guys haven't-
serial killer.
If you guys are interested in that kind of stuff at all and you haven't looked into that dude, that is a fascinating story.
It
and by
is.
fascinating, it's terrifying.
It's horrific. Like,
It's horrific.
do know going in that he killed like 30 teenagers.
It's insane.
The thing that's so horrific about it was such an insidious way to fool people, where he dressed up as a clown, so people were like, oh, he's a clown, it's fun. They go to parties and they do tricks, and it's a fun thing for someone to be doing and something that kids would like. And so he would have kids come over and be like, hey guys, I'm a clown, you want to see my rope trick? And then he would tie them up and then he would murder them.
When they mentioned that, I was like, oh my God.
It's messed up.
The thing that really creeped me out about this, because I didn't know, I knew there was a guy that dressed up as a clown and murdered like young boys, but that's all I knew. I didn't realize he killed them and then buried them in his crawl space under his house.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was a cemetery when they found it.
That's basically the perfect hiding spot for dead bodies, because it's under your house. No one's going to go digging around under your house.
Not without you noticing, at least.
Right, exactly. And for him to go down there and hide there, he's under the house digging around and burying bodies. That's very easy to do that discreetly.
I think what terrified me about that story, and probably what terrifies a lot of people, is that like he was a normal, like functioning person in society.
Yeah. Say managed some KFCs.
I was reading an article, you know, in doing a little bit of discoveries about him today, and he won like Man of the Year in the city he was in. Like he was like the man around town. He wasn't like he was hiding in plain sight.
I feel like this is good, like useful knowledge in general. Most serial killers are not weird dudes that can't interact with people. They're the opposite.
Yeah.
They're sociopaths that have figured out how to interact with people so they can be around people. Ted Bundy, even when he was arrested, the vast majority of his neighbors and people that knew him in his life, because once again, he was not like a shut-in that was killing people in a dungeon. He was very, very charismatic and was interacting with people all the time. They didn't believe it.
That's the most unsettling part to me, is the whole, like, you think about the people around you, and you're like, who could be doing this horrible stuff that I don't even know?
The worst.
Do you know anybody who's a clown? That's the one. That's what you're looking for.
The worst part about Ted Bundy is that they made the documentary where they had footage of actual Ted Bundy in like court and all these different things. And when that documentary came out, there were a bunch of women on Twitter talking about how amazingly handsome and charming he is and how they want to date him.
That's a thing. It's definitely a thing.
No, and the makers of the documentary, it was Netflix, came out and
said... It was Netflix.
They said, stop crushing on Ted Bundy. He's a serial killer. He murdered a bunch of people. We don't care if you think he's cute. There's a bunch of cute people all over Netflix.
Yeah, I would love to know if those people read what Ted Bundy did to people, because, like, horrifying. Like, honestly... I say that, but I will give you a disclaimer right now. Do not read this unless you're ready. Like, it is depraved. Like, that dude had no soul.
Do you know what this goes to show you, though? That if you're good looking, doesn't matter. Do whatever you want.
Or if you're a clown, you can get away with murder, as they say.
If you're good looking,
dude, him saying that
and charismatic.
No, yeah, but no, he was charismatic. He did interviews. He did an interview with, I think his name's Charles Dobson, Chuck Dobson, right?
Yeah, the Christian leader guy.
So he went and interviewed him when he was on death row, because Ted Bundy was eventually executed, and he went and talked to him. He loved talking to people about all of this, and he like just gives this whole thing about, oh, here's what happened to me. But I think he liked attention. I think that he was just. But anyways, we're way off topic here, but it's really interesting that, first of all, you start with some historical tidbits. Then you move to perception of clowns. And then you move to a little bit of, it's almost true crimey when they start talking about John Wayne Gacy. And then there's another one.
I love that they gave his last words. Do you remember what his last words were?
Yeah.
Kiss my ass.
As he was being lethally injected, right?
Yeah.
Sociopath. Like, nothing.
Bad dude.
Yeah.
Bad dude.
So, yeah, then you get into kind of like...
So there's a very good reason for the switch on clowns.
And it's such a good movie. You know what I mean? It's so... Interesting is not the right word. It's that same thing of like, you have that morbid curiosity with how can you be this way? You know what I mean? Where it's not, oh, I find this fascinating and I love hearing about it. It's how can someone think this differently from a normal person? How can someone hurt people like this and have no remorse and just be that way?
It's messed up.
There is some element of it that is intriguing.
So you get the whole story about Gacy and how that was one of the first things that kind of made everybody a little bit more leery about clowns. And then the horror genre kind of really dove into that And they mention, I mean, that is what the horror genre does. It takes something innocent and it just kind of, that's what makes it so scary.
Yeah, it's about subversion.
It's the same thing we're just talking about, like the unsettling anybody around you could be doing these horrible things.
Yeah.
It's this thing that I love, and it's innocent looking, and it's terrifying.
No, the best horror movies are like that. Where, okay, The Exorcist, a little girl plays with a Ouija board, the end, gets possessed, goes crazy. You know, they take something that's innocent and pure, and then you flip it on its ear and make it terrifying and horrific, and it makes a good movie.
Yeah.
And understanding everything that John Wayne Gacy did and seeing him dress up as a clown, because I don't think that every single time he dressed up as a clown, he killed somebody. I think that he also just dressed up as a clown and went and did clown things. It's like, how insane was this guy?
Clown's gonna clown, man.
Yeah, he's just clowning it up. But then sometimes he's murdering people. It makes no sense. And so, yes, that is a great premise for a movie. Yes, it's horrific that it actually happened. But the entire idea of this guy who's at children's parties and is in your life, you invited him to your kid's party. He's there with your kid and all of his friends, is a serial killer. That is exactly what a horror movie is looking for.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It really is. And then they talked about in like 2015, 2016, all the crazy and it was all over social media. Do you guys remember this time?
Yeah, this was pre-It
I remember
1,
this.
right?
Yes, it was
because I think
before the newer version.
That's what I thought was happening. I thought this was like people were getting hyped for It. And I mean, even the old It, Tim Curry played a creepy clown. He was
pretty scary.
It is creepy looking. I think they do a very good job of, this is not like a clown that you would see at the circus. This is a clown that immediately when you see, you're like, I'm not sure about this clown. It's very nuanced, but Tim Curry and the current Pennywise, both you're just like, I don't think so. If I saw that just like out somewhere, I would not feel comfortable. But I thought that when this movie was coming out, they were just getting some viral marketing going, because I remember there was people standing on the side of roads just dressed as a clown.
And like I remember seeing videos of actual stuff happening, like with people I know, like videotaping, like you said, like just really scary looking clowns on the side of the road, just like staring at the cars that are going by, just to scare people.
Yep. Well,
no, but that's it.
My son's school sent out an email when this was going on saying, basically, anything you've heard about a clown near the school, there's nothing to worry about. There's no one in danger. We've called the police. But basically, they said they saw a clown near their school. And it's like some of the kids were talking about whether they did or not.
The thing is,
my kid's in first grade, and they're sending emails about like clowns being near school. I'm like, don't like any of this.
First of all, I totally believe that there was. It became, it's the blessing and the curse of the internet. We have unlimited knowledge. But you can see that as soon as there's one viral video of a random dude dressed like a clown standing on, literally they just stand there, and they'd stand somewhere that's dark, and so your lights would be the only thing that would like illuminate them, and they would just look at you as you drove by. That's it. That's so low effort to troll people.
And here's the horrifying thing about, we talk about viral videos because a lot of times they're funny and you got to watch them. That is that kind of viral video. But I think there's viral things that happen through the internet where you have copycats of things that are much more insidious than funny videos. And when that happens, you see it's really like a mental virus that spreads through the population of something that wouldn't have normally spread. It would have been isolated to like one small area.
What's the one where they would just walk up and haymaker somebody?
Oh, like punching people in the face.
Yes.
Thing?
No, it was like a cheap shot. You know, that's the point of it. Yeah, no, they'd just walk up and they'd punch somebody like in the face as hard as they could that wasn't looking at them. And that became like a thing because on YouTube it started getting hits and people would do it.
I think the thing that disturbs me the most of any of these types of videos, and this is completely off topic, is the ones where people do like extremely dangerous stuff in extremely high places. You know what I'm talking about? Like, well, they'll be like on a giant crane and they'll be like,
oh yeah, that's just
handstands and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's just adrenaline junkies though. They're not trying to troll anybody.
No, but I'm saying a lot of these guys are trying to do, trying to get a viral video on YouTube. How many people have freaking died doing that kind of stuff? I get disturbed every time I see one because you just feel like they're gonna fall.
It's not great. There's a subreddit called Sweaty Palms that's like all that type of video. It's literally people like, oh, I'm gonna do a handstand off a skyscraper. And but it's one of those things. And I feel like with the clown stuff, It's very low effort. You don't have to climb a skyscraper. You put on a weird clown outfit. You go stand on the side of a country road. You could be a viral video.
The crazy thing was they started having murders happen from people dressing up like clowns, and they would come at someone with a knife or a fake knife, and then they would get killed because someone thought they were being attacked by a clown with a knife.
This is
so they killed
America.
them.
Don't come at us with knives or guns.
It's not a good idea.
We'll kill you first.
Yeah, you're gonna get it. And so that's the thing. Like, if I saw a clown messing around my house, wouldn't be good. It would not be good. I would not be like, oh, there's a clown, let me lock my doors and put it on YouTube. No. You get off my yard, clown. And if you took
Get out of here, you clown.
if you took one step towards me, not good. So I'm just saying.
He's going to throw a can of beans at him.
Yeah, I'm just saying. That's the thing. I don't play with that. Like, if
He's going to throw a disc golf at him. Wait,
no.
a disc golf.
A disc.
What, a disc?
Yeah,
A frisbee?
Just no.
I got a samurai
No.
sword.
Oh, yeah, I
got a
forgot you got your samurai sword.
I mean,
That's what you would choose. If a clown was attacking your house, you'd choose samurai sword.
yes.
That is the most neckbeardy answer that could possibly have come out
That
of your
thing's
mouth
immediately going to break.
No,
No
he
way.
has an actually decent one.
I have a real samurai sword.
There is one that he should not use because it will break. It's made
So-
out of tinfoil.
My whole point is this. If you're thinking about coming to my house dressed as the clown, I got a samurai sword. That's my point. No, but the whole thing is...
That's terrifying, I guess.
No, the whole thing is that people do these things as a joke or a viral video or whatever. But if you're implying or even doing something that could imply harm to people, expect people to defend themselves. And don't be mad about the repercussions.
Yeah, that was
of
weird how they said like there was literally press release from like the cops being like, look, if you're coming at somebody even with a fake knife, that's on you.
Not a good idea. It is really not. But people stopped like thinking about how people are going to feel when you mess with them for a video. That was one of the other things is people were thinking so much about like, okay, I want to be in a video.
It's a prank, bro.
I know,
It's just a
but
prank.
pranks are only good if it's not something that is targeting someone. If it's fun for everyone at the end, that's a good prank.
No, my favorite is it's a prank, bro guy that's he's getting beat up by some guys because he did something to like really piss people off. I think he like slapped their phones out of their hands and broke their phones. It's like, it's a prank, bro, and they're just beating him up.
Don't tase me.
That is a terrible prank.
No, but that's the whole thing.
That's
the
what I'm
guy
saying.
was,
They are not laughing
Yeah.
at the end of that.
the guy was just being a jerk and got what was coming to him, and he's like, it's a prank. It's like, no, that's not a prank.
It's like you can't just say it's a prank when you do something stupid and get beat up.
Yeah. So clowns got killed because they thought
But
it was
yeah,
a prank.
so then there was that whole weird clown thing. The new It movies are out. You know, the first one came shortly after all of the weird viral videos. The second one's out right now. Creepy clowns are still around. They mentioned in this show Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Definitely watch that because that movie is amazing and stupid and just good. I feel like horror has an advantage that no one else does. If you're stupid enough, then it becomes a comedy and you are winning.
Yes. So you kind of have two ways to win.
Yeah.
Either real scary
Or
or
real
real
stupid.
dumb.
And so the Killer Clowns from Outer Space, I'd put in the stupid category, but still really fun to watch. Like ridiculous movie. They mentioned several other things that you could check out, and that's one of their other cool segments is they have Media Rex. That's just they at the end of the episode will throw everything that they mentioned that would be a fun thing for you to watch based on this topic, and they get them all together so that you can go check out what they're talking about.
Yeah, and I thought their show had such great structure to it. They had 4 or 5 different segments. They had the liquid courage. They had the where did this phobia start to become a thing? Where's the background of it? They had news stories. They had the media recommendations. They had so many good things, and then they were able to just kind of have a conversation and riff between those kind of structure points. And so, really, really well made podcast. And I love the structure of a good podcast because I feel like most really good podcasts have some sort of structure. I think Joe Rogan Experience is the exception to that, where the structure is they're going to go on there and he's going to
The
talk to
structure
them
is
about
no
whatever they want.
structure.
Right. But pretty much every
He
other
lives
good
in the
podcast
chaos.
has some level of structure and,
Yeah.
and formula to it, and they have a really good one.
No, they have the thing is it's not that you must have structure, but it helps make your show coherent. And if you aren't Joe Rogan, or if you aren't, because I feel like Tim Ferriss, Cal Fussman, a lot of these guys, and Cal I think is pretty precise, but still, it's more question based and it's conversational, so they kind of just flow more. But with shows that are episodic, where you kind of are digging into a topic, it makes it so that it's something that you can always like look forward to and something you can always follow along with, and stuff that you can, even after the show's over, it sticks with you because like, okay, if you want to go try their drink that they made this episode, you can do that. If you want to go see the movies they were talking about and referencing in the episode, you can go do that. And so I think that it lends a lot to, and it sounds like they have a blog as well, but it lends a lot to the ability for people to collaborate with them. Maybe collaborate is not the right word, but participate in the show itself.
Yeah, and they have a lot of really good other episodes. The other one that I listened to was the one about zombies, the fear of zombies, which I think that's buck wild too.
They're not real.
No, I know. But people literally spend ridiculous amounts of money getting ready for this zombie apocalypse that they think might happen. Like,
but
I've watched Doomsday Preppers or whatever, and
they're like, well, whenever
really
mad
believe
cow
in it,
disease
man.
and zombies happen, it's like, okay, dude.
That is what they think is like mad cow disease will at some point transfer. But preppers, they pick a thing. That's the thing about Doomsday Preppers is they pick a thing that's going to be the end of the world, and they do the same thing.
Zombies,
Obama,
China. Those are the top three, probably.
No, there's like nuclear holocaust, volcanoes, tsunamis.
I do love the thing I really liked about that show was that at the end they're like the odds of this happening, and it would be like ridiculously low. And after they've talked about how much money this person has spent, like
this
I remember there was a guy that spent millions of dollars. Like he got a private helicopter. It was ridiculous, and it was for something I don't know, like a giant sinkhole or something. But some of the other fears they have, their number one, their episode 1 had to have been a great one. Fear of sharks. Sure. We live in Florida, so I think we all kind of have a little bit of fear of sharks.
But literally, you can look at Jaws by itself. The movie Jaws by itself,
it changes the whole game.
Freaks people out immediately.
The odds of getting attacked by a shark are actually really low, but
I put this in the podcast Discovery Club. Did you not see it? What you need to watch out for is mosquitoes.
Yeah, I was going to say the mosquitoes was the one that was the most terrifying of all of them.
Yes, and then
we're also from Florida.
Humans. So
I was actually surprised that mosquitoes were worse
humans
than humans.
at least. Yeah,
we're not the worst predator on the earth. It's mosquitoes.
It's something.
They have fear of silence. What about that one that you want to listen to?
Yeah, there was one on the fear of beards that I need to listen to because I need to know
fear of beards.
I need to know how scary I am and why.
I did not know that was a thing.
Is it called I Feared the Beard?
Most people love the beard. Most people fear me shaving off the beard. If I say I'm going to shave my beard off, people are like, please don't. Like, we don't want to see your face. Please keep it hidden under that.
I mean, that's why I don't grow a beard, because you don't put a blanket on a diamond.
Hide it under a bushel. No,
I'm going to let it shine.
The name for the fear of beards is ridiculous. It's pogonophobia. These names are ridiculous.
I need some
pogonophobia.
Yep.
I need to understand what pogomology? Pogonophobia. I switched to ologies there real quick.
Yeah. I wonder if they have a ologies on beards. They should.
Does your face grow hair? We have an ology for that. So this was an amazing podcast. That was a great recommendation, Kirk. And I learned a lot about clowns and why I feel weird about them.
Definitely like this one better than the last one.
That is not surprising. So I have a recommendation for next week.
Alrighty.
And to try and bridge the gap between things that are very mystical and then this episode, which kind of is based in reality, we're going to go
somewhere in the middle.
Right in the middle. And this is a show that we've covered before. I wanted to talk about it on Revisited almost because I love this show.
I think we did it like in season 1. It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, but I love this show. I'll listen to it anytime. The show is Astonishing Legends, and they really dig into kind of the research and the understanding and almost from a skeptical point of view of supernatural, paranormal, whatever type things. And they even mentioned in this episode that they've seen enough that they're starting to lean more towards there's some unknowns out there. But the specific episode we're going to talk about is James Willis and the Ghosts of Ohio. And this is an interview episode where they talk to a renowned ghost hunter, speaker, psychiatrist, psychologist, just an interesting guy about approaching ghost hunting from a more scientific and a more level field so that we can talk about a spooky topic, but in a more scientific way.
Sounds good to me.
I'm excited.
And remember,
There's always more to discover.
Thank you for listening to the Podcast Discovery Show. We have a few things we'd like to tell you. First, we would love to hear from you on Twitter at the PDS Official or in our Facebook group, the Podcast Discovery Club.
secondly, leaving a rating or review on iTunes helps tremendously in giving us visibility and also visibility to the podcast that we recommend. You can also check out our Patreon page to get exclusive bloopers, old episode archives, and other exclusive content while supporting the show.
Finally, seriously, get in touch. We'd love to hear from you about what you love about podcasts. And thank you for being a part of all of the things that we do.
This was a podcast from the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.